What's going on, guys? rBangerz here. What is the longest you've gone without knowing a person's name? Worked in a pharmacy. A young woman, say late teens, early 20s, came up and asked to pick up her grandmother's prescription. I said no problem. What's her name? She looked at me with a blank face, asked me to hold on, and called her family. I just don't understand how you can go all your life like not knowing your grandmother's name, because like maybe you could have just like called them grandma all your life, but it's just kind of odd to me that you wouldn't know your grandparents' name, because I feel like that, like some people they'll be like, oh hey Grandpa Ron, or something like that. That's just weird to me. I moved into my condo in 2011 and I introduced myself to my one neighbor next door to me, but instantly forgot his name. We would see each other in passing for years and I would always just say hi in the casual conversation. I met my wife in 2018 from a long distance relationship, and when she finally moved in with me, there was the awkward moment when I introduced her to him. I said, "This is my fiance X and we're getting married next month." He said, "Congratulations and nice to meet you," then walked away. She asked me what was his name and I said, "I have no fucking clue." Later that day, she said his name is Brad, and I was just like, oh, he looks like a Brad. And she said he had no fucking clue what my name was either, so no big deal. God, 7 whole years of not knowing your neighbor's name. But that's kind of funny because, like, just imagine, like, going, like, 7 whole years talking to somebody randomly in passing, and guys just never know each other's names, so it's just awkward the entire time. Like, it's not awkward during like the encounters, but just afterwards you're just like, oh, I should probably ask him what his name is, but you're just stuck in that cycle for 7 whole years. Most likely over a decade. I'm in the UK and I've got to know many of our acquaintances down my local pub. Over time you get to know about their work, hobbies, likes and dislikes. You get to know how many kids they have, how many times they've had to be married, etc, etc. Then a friend from out of town visits you, and as you do in the UK, you go to the pub. Lo and behold, your pub acquaintance is there and you introduce your pal from out of town, only to realize you know everything about your pub pal, everything except for their bloody name. Like, it kind of sounds awkward at first, but it kind of makes sense because the way I see it is if like people are regulars there and they just see each other all the time, like obviously they kind of miss the point of just introducing themselves, but maybe they were too drunk or intoxicated or whatever to just, you know, casually make that conversation. But it's not too far off if like people are regulars and they just see each other all the time, they just engage in conversation. A whole school year, I knew their names, I just didn't know which twin was which, and they weren't identical. Okay, so pretty much what they're saying is that they're fraternal twins, and I actually had identical twins when I was in school, and I knew their names, but I could never tell either of them apart. Now, there's like some cases from what I've read that some people can roll identical twins as fraternal for like minor differences and things like that, but it doesn't sound like they were similar in appearance. It just sounds like the person was just bad at names, which is so pretty funny. I work at a record store. There's a guy who's been coming in weekly for the entire 11 years I've worked there. We just call him Sweaty Polish Guy. My name is apparently Darren to this nice couple who owns a restaurant in my town. My name is not Darren. I've known them for 2 years. We're even Facebook friends. They can literally see and read my name, but it's cool. I always wanted to try being Darren. Well, I guess you are Darren now, sir. I've lived in my townhome for almost 5 years now, and I don't know the name of the guy who lives directly across from me. I have pretty regular interactions with most of my neighbors, but I've never talked with this one guy beyond just exchanging pleasantries while passing each other. When I moved in and first met him, I immediately forgot his name. I was almost positive he said it was Mike, so I went about 4 years just assuming that was probably his name, but not quite confident enough to actually call him Mike. Then a few months ago, I was talking to some other neighbors in the parking lot when he walked by, and my other neighbors called him out, "Hey, name that is not Mike." So it was confirmed that this guy's name was not in fact Mike, and I was relieved I hadn't been calling him that for the past 5 years, but I immediately forgot again what his name actually is, so now all I know is something other than Mike. Maybe I'll learn his name by the time I've lived there for 10 years, or maybe I'll know his name by the time you move out. I've been on the receiving end of this. My nickname in college was the Mayor, and I had people I had known for years coming up to me at my graduation saying I had no idea your name was actually Dan. See, that would be a pretty cool nickname to have, because when I like read the Mayor, I was just thinking of the governor from The Walking Dead, and I always thought that was like the coolest thing, to just be called the governor. My next door neighbor introduced himself when he moved in. I promptly forgot his name, and I danced around it for that same 5 years. He was from a French-speaking part of Canada, so when talking with my wife, he was French guy next door. 5 years after first meeting, he admits in a conversation that he'd forgotten my name. We have a good laugh and reintroduce ourselves. His name was Guy. I had it right the whole time. He was in fact the French guy next door. And that is probably the only time I've ever heard of somebody's made up name actually being the correct one, but I'm actually going to end the video here, guys. If you guys want to check out any more of my AskReddit content, I'm actually going to put a card right at the top right corner of the screen right now, and yeah, so I'm just going to hop right off and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.